Hey everyone, Matt J. Doyle here with Tap Interviews. I'm here with the amazing Rhoda Pell. Hi
Hello.
Rhoda, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm so glad you're all watching.
Yes, glad everybody's watching and happy to have you as a guest.
Thank you.
So Rhoda, please tell us a little more about your illustrious acting career.
Well, first of all, the funny thing is that I had given up on being an actor back after not quite completing LA City College Drama Academy. And I had been an actress from junior high, well, all my life, but junior high school, Midsummer Night's Dream, went on to Hollywood High School, Midsummer Night's Dream. No, I didn't do Midsummer Night's Dream, Hollywood High. Anyway, and I've always loved watching theater, especially. I'm also a movie junkie and TV junkie, but I love being in the audience of the theater. I don't need to be on stage. And I realized I didn't have what it took to be an actor in my head. I like to be self-supporting, and I didn't have that. I think you have to, frankly, be a little insane to know that that's all you want to do is be a creative actor. And I don't have that kind of insanity, frankly. Others might disagree with me, but I looked around at especially three people. I always mention these three people. I'm not going to mention them now, I don't think, but at LEC College, I thought those people are real actors, and I have no business pursuing this. So what am I going to do with my life? And I thought, well, you know what? It's the 60s. I was right there with the hippies, and opening up my mind and expanding my consciousness. And I thought, I feel so good about my body and about life. The next indicated action would be to have a baby and then figure out what to do with the rest of my life. And that's how my fabulous son, Barney, came about, who just turned 52 in March. And I went into labor at Barney's Beanery, which is why he got that name, on St. Patrick's Day Eve, had him the next day. And then I went to work for what was at one time the phone company, Ma Bell, before it went through divestiture. And that became my 32-year career. And when he was 9 years old, I got married and had two more sons. And so I loved my job doing customer service and sales over the phone. And then I would go to theater in the evenings and on weekends. And somehow, growing up in Hollywood all those years, I never knew about extra work, or at least I never saw it as something that I could sign up for. So in the year of, I guess it was 2001, I had a girlfriend. Every time we talk on the phone, she'd be on the set of something glamorous, like Ally McBeal. And I said, what is it you're doing? And she said, she signed up with Central Casting. She's doing background work. I'm hearing a lot of static. Are you hearing that, by the way?
No.
Okay. Now it seems to have stopped, interestingly. So she told me how to sign up, and then the horrible 9/11 hit, and the phone company, AT&T at the time, I guess, no, SBC Global, wanted to let go of the heavyweights with lots of seniority. And it made me an offer I couldn't refuse, my third offer for early retirement. And this time I said yes, and I took the money and ran over to Central Casting. And the first gig I got was for the Gilmore Girls. And I called in for 4 hours straight, getting busy signals and no answers. And finally somebody answered and said, yeah, we have one part left as a speech teacher at a debate convention or something. And there I was at Warner Brothers, deliriously happy, and couldn't wait for the next gig. And that was in 2001. I went union in 2004. And I have pursued it with such ferocity. And I have many friends that I know are just like me. We love being on set. I love being in holding. I mean, it's amazing being paid and fed and getting approval and being with celebrities who are on set perhaps, and having these wonderful intimate conversations that can last for hours quietly while we're waiting, hopefully, to be called on to set, and sometimes never being called on to set. And so my Facebook is filled with so many friends who I've never seen again from this one time we had this great conversation on set, but we're all posting, clips. And so it's been a wonderful, since 2001, 19 years for me. And I like so much of my fellows. I mean, the whole world is wondering what's going to happen when we're allowed to leave to go back into the new normal, but especially with showbiz. Oh my goodness, and with Broadway. And I did get my oldest son treated, many of his family, to a week of Broadway shows. It's the only time I got to see Broadway shows, and that was a great joy for New York.
That's
So
amazing. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about one of the highlights of your career where you were in a commercial with Mark Wahlberg.
yes, that's probably the most exciting of all. While pursuing, I call myself, by the way, the go-to old lady, and this hair has been my moneymaker, I call it, because so many of my peers dye their hair or carry around wigs when they need to play grandmas. And I started doing a lot of student films when I discovered how hard it was to get the booking, especially when one becomes union. I knew there'd be much less roles available. And I started joining every single casting company online. One of my great joys is submitting myself for all the zany characters that I can play, from homeless person to psychiatrist, social worker, grandma, stripper, if they'll allow an old lady to be a stripper. Whatever I can do and get hired for, I'm willing to do. So in the meantime, I was doing student films, which I discovered from my first student film, which was a USC film called Nun Fu. And I love playing a nun, by the way. I have my own nun's costume. I keep it in my car trunk, so I'm ready to be the nun at any time. And
Wow.
I discovered wonderful things from student films. We're going to get to Mark Wahlberg, but first of all, with student films, I discovered you work with brilliant, talented, creative people. And two, you are part of a tremendous production, hopefully. Then you get invited to a screening, hopefully. So I started looking at auditioning for student films. To me, it was like to get a ticket to the film festivals, I call it. And I would always show up, not just to see the film that I'm in, but I would stay as long as I could. I would make friends in the audience. I would see friends on screen and, whatever. So that was glorious. And then fourth thing is these mysterious things called IMDb credits started popping up. And often the unpaid projects, indie films, student films, even spec commercials, wouldn't offer pay, but they would offer copy credit, IMDb credit, which is different from just having your name at the rolling credits at the end of a film. It's wonderful to have the IMDb credit. And so last I looked, I have 265 IMDb credits. And
wow, that is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I have learned to Google myself every so often. I follow myself also. So hopefully if something posts that I did, I'll get notified. But otherwise, I also Google myself and search myself. And it's fascinating to see what I can discover. Like my name was mentioned in a review in, I think it was France, for some French film festival where there were only 5 of us acting in the whole movie. So I was co-starring with the star. And he mentioned the star and he said, and I have to give mention too. And he mentioned the other 4 of us. So he didn't say anything about my acting, but I was mentioned. And there were like 14, 16 reviews from Sweden and Germany and all those. And I could look at the translation. But after I looked through all of them, the first one I hit on, the English one, was the only one that had mentioned my name. Anyway, so I started doing student films and had some terrible experiences with them and had some glorious experiences with them. And so I was going to do this film for Columbia College, which was one of my least favorite film schools, frankly, to work for, because some of the schools would pay. Columbia College would never pay. They also didn't have nice screenings at a studio. They might have the screening on the college campus, which wasn't much. I just didn't have a good feeling about Columbia College. But there was this notice that I had seen that I submitted for and got the part for, which had the grisly husband and wife, and it just seemed like fun. And I warned them that if I get a paid gig, I would have to cancel. And they said, we understand, we cannot pay you. but they had rented a costume for me. And then the next week, I found out that the one playing my husband had canceled out, so they replaced him with a young man who would be my son. That was fine. But then my call time was noon, and at 10:30 in the morning, I'm looking on LA Casting, and I see an alert rush call to be a grandma in an AT&T commercial. It would be union background, which, by the way, pays a lot of money. Last I looked, it's like $377 for one day. No, for a commercial, right? For 8 hours. And I submitted, and sure enough, 15 minutes later came the call, how soon can you get to Santa Monica? So I forwarded the notice to the Columbia College folks saying, sorry, I warned you, rushed off to Santa Monica, and they rushed me through. They were happy with my hair, with my makeup. They put a sweater on me, rushed me upstairs. They said, you're the bathroom grandma? I said, I guess so. And it so happened, I knew the family that was already gathered there. So we all gave each other a big hug. I knew them from my personal life as well as from auditions. And they had all auditioned as a family for principals. And then I asked the stand-in next to me, who is he standing in for? And he said, Mark Wahlberg. And Peter Berg, who I love as an actor and director, was the director of this. And I told my friends as we were embracing, I said, I just got this rush call to be background. And they wondered, how could I be background when everybody on set there was principal? I said, I don't know. So we proceed. 45 minutes later, it's a wrap. And I start seeing this commercial, and I'm very prominent with the rest of them. And one of my buddies from showbiz said, you need to get principal contract on this. And so I filed a claim, my first claim with the Guild. And I don't think it's because of the claim. I think it's because the agency, and I've heard this happening to my friends in the past. On 30 days later, I got a letter from the agency somewhere on the East Coast, I think. And it just said, congratulations, you've been upgraded to principal, and residuals will follow. And unfortunately, the commercial stopped running after 3 months and was replaced by the one that had Angelica Houston pretending to be a dollar bill hiding behind the curtains. And everybody I know hated that commercial. She looked so terrible in it. And that seemed to run for years. And she didn't need that money. I'm not harboring resentment against her. I'm just grateful that I got that commercial. And it really inspired me to get more. And I had done that, of course, without an agent. So I've had, I'm on my, I think, 7th commercial agent. And never got anything whatsoever from the previous ones. The one I had right before this one, I had high hopes for, but I started realizing they were sending me out on non-union commercials. And I thought, I can submit for those myself. I need a union commercial representative. So I made that clear with the one of the top 5 agencies was so happy to bring me on. And they referred me to several choices of photographers. And Jessica Sherman Prince, by the way, is the one that did that beautiful headshot of me that's on the website here. And I have a huge variety of wonderful headshots, was raring to go. And then, as we all know, the lockdown hit. And so, oh well, I finally, after all this time, get a top commercial agent. But, I can't complain. Even being reached out to you by you is wonderful. And it was so great when Mark Wahlberg did come strolling on, and he's washing his hands at the sink and talking about DirecTV rooms. And anybody can look up the commercial on YouTube, DirecTV rooms. And there we are.
Fantastic. That is a wonderful story. Thanks for sharing that with us. Well, I would just like to share your IMDb with the viewers right now. So I'm going to share it on the screen. So just bear with me while I do that.
Great.
And you should be able to see that.
Great. I can be contacted through IMDb also if anybody wants to reach out.
Okay, and we can see that your rank is up this week, which is great. You can see your picture and demo reel, and then we'll scroll down and we can see all the credits, 265 credits, as you said.
Yeah.
So that is an amazing IMDb. You can see all the credits, and they go all the way down, all the way down. Look at that, audience. Isn't that fantastic?
And I have, in fact, been contacted, especially by a wonderful woman who does a theater blog, kind of similar to yours, but it wasn't on video. And she somehow kept seeing my face showing up in all these different films, and I'm kind of a little older than her, so she was curious how I managed to get so many films going. So she looked me up on IMDb and she contacted me and asked if she could interview me. And for 45 minutes, I rattled off similar to what you and I are doing. And she did a beautiful blog post on that. So it's fascinating that because the power of that IMDb page, I really do get contacted by people. And then my demo reel, I just wanted to quickly talk about, if I may.
Okay? Yes.
The demo reel, which is what so many actors pay a lot of money for a demo reel, and they're always showing up on these little unpaid films or student films with me because they want the footage. They might have a huge live stage theater history, but they don't have the credits that they need. Nothing on IMDb. So how I got mine was when I realized how hard it was to get booked by Central Casting, and I still love just doing extra work. I don't particularly like to memorize lines. I don't like to rehearse. I'm what I've been called an intuitive actor. And so I started doing all these student films, spec commercials, and I did one directed by a wonderful director, wonderful human being who calls himself Benjamin Martian. I think his real name is Benjamin Martin. And he's head of Tigtone Productions, by the way, and they're doing very, very well, and they're animated. So I think they're able to continue even during this horrible thing we're in. And he had a rush call for seniors to be in a trailer called Care Center Convalescence. And it was going to compete for a Grindstone Film Festival, and the winner would be the trailer for the Rutger Hauer movie, Hobo with a Shotgun. And so I am at the end of the scene, blood spattered with guns in both arms. My eyes is slit saying, "Mercy kills for all."
Good God.
Again. So he hired us all, understanding, again, no pay, not even an IMDb credit because just a trailer, but he could put together a demo reel for those of us that needed one. And I said, I've got all these links to all these movies that I've done, student films, indie films, and I've got stacks of DVDs that I've gotten from all my various film shoots. But for me to go through and pick out the key portions of myself seemed like overwhelming. I said, can I just send you the links? He said, send me the links. And he put together, in just the right amount, short time that's required for a demo reel, clips from my New York Film Academy and from Spec Commercial and from that Care Center Convalescence. That's the end of my demo reel. And I have booked so much work off of that demo reel, which—
Congratulations.
Thank you. It goes back about 15 years by now. And I'm a good friend of his. And because I go to so much theater, I discovered that the marvelous Bianca Lemaire, who I just loved as an actress, when I saw him in the audience, discovered that they're married and now they're having their second daughter. They had a first and the next one. So the family heartfelt connections that come from my show business life, I tell you, it's just so gratifying and wonderful. And hopefully you and I will be Facebook friends too, Matt.
Yes, we can connect on Facebook, Rhoda, and we'll stay in touch. I have access to other shows as well.
Ooh.
Others on IMDb, and I will talk to you all about that. I'm going to wrap this video today up around this time, around the 20 minutes. But because there's more to talk about, we'd love to have you back on the show again in the future.
Wonderful. I'd love to be back. Thank you very much.
What I've really heard is that your IMDb and your demo reel have helped you a lot. So it's a good idea to get those credits on the IMDb and get a good demo reel.
Yes.
And it sounds like you've had a very interesting career so far, and you look like you're very happy with what you're doing. So I think this is going to inspire younger people and other people that want to get into the acting profession or the entertainment industry.
Yes.
So thank you very much for coming on, Rhoda, and just stay on after, and we'll have a little talk after. But thank you very much for your time today.
Okay, thank you. Bye all.
Yeah, bye, and thank you to all our sponsors as well. You can see them all on the collage. Okay, bye.